Okay, today we are talking about the pressure relief valve T setup on the Yak 52. This is not to be confused with the old style AD50 valve on earlier model Yak 52s, which is, by the way, very reliable, and I would take that over this T setup. But here we are at the T. Okay. So here's the location of the pressure relief valve T setup, and I'm holding one that we're going to discuss a little bit later, but that's what you have on the firewall. Our problem is on this project Yak, we have just robbed Peter to pay Paul for a customer, and I stole ours off of here for someone. So anyway, here's the setup. Okay, cut. Do we want to be standing here? Okay, so the first thing, if you are going to overhaul or replace one of the one-way check valves, I'm going to instruct you on how to do this job so that it doesn't become very expensive. Tutorial number 1. This is the pressure relief portion of this T setup. On either side is a one-way check valve, part number 636100M. And on the bottom, contrary to popular belief, this is not a one-way check valve. It is the Russian air filter for the air system. So the first thing that you'll want to do when you're working on this is to relieve the air in the system. To do that, you need to cut the safety wire here, back the jam nut off a little bit, and very carefully just loosen this cap and let it slowly bleed down, okay? Then the next part of this setup and working on, we're going to assume you're working on the one-way check valves, is to turn the B nut the correct way. So that's what I really want to demonstrate today. And we're pretending that this is still mounted up here on the firewall. 17 millimeter wrench, I think that's a 22. Yeah, I think it's 22. Anyway, lefty-loosey on the B nut, but lefty-loosey in terms of the T assembly. The B nut, you can see which direction I'm turning that. Okay? Lefty-loosey as viewed from the T setup. So that's part of the T, not part of the check valve. There's a lot of confusion over that, believe it or not. And I have sold a lot of these units over the years. Now again, lefty-loosey on the B nut for the T, not the one-way check valve. And lefty-loosey also down here for the air filter. Okay, so if you turn these B nuts the wrong way, you're going to end up snapping that flare end off. And this unit here is in the neighborhood of $600. And they're no longer available from the factory in Romania, as they have stopped producing the airplane and airframe parts. So be very, very careful. I do like to sell parts, but not unnecessarily, and this would be unnecessary to break this part, okay? So since we have the standalone valve, if you have a piston that's leaking in this valve, what you can do is back off the cap, and once the air is drained out of the system, and then down inside you have a high compression spring and a piston. And those can be replaced and worked on. We'll show you that later. What are you doing? Anyway, to rebuild the one-way check valve, you just need to disassemble it. Take the male part off the female part of this body. Not very difficult to do. And then inside, here's our rebuild kit. which consists of a new spring, 2 crush washers, and an O-ring. Now, the O-ring replaces the rubber that is vulcanized onto the piston. It works just fine. So when you reinstall everything, just make sure you reinstall it correctly. Wise to, as you take it out, take note of which way the piston is put in and reassemble it. And if you look, embossed into the body of the one-way check valve is an arrow, so it will tell you which way the air is flowing and that the air can't get back the other way, hence one-way check valve. The air filter that is on the bottom of the T setup should be attended to at condition inspection. What I tell customers is to try to take it apart and clean the screen. Here's one of the screens. This is a new one. Oh, here's to clean the screen. Here's one of the screens. This is a new one. There's numerous very fine micron brass screens sandwiched together, and if you look at that, around the perimeter of those screens, that not only holds the screens together, but it forms the sealing crush gasket for the body of the air filter. Now,